This year I'm looking to try some strange and more experimental videos on different subjects, so to kick this off I've decided to look at something that's just a little bit different. Usually, for me, a short simple video would mean a classic point and click review, but I wanted to cover something that you might not expect, which is a point and click fan site.
Yeah, you heard me right. Today I'm looking at a fan site called Mystery Manor Adventure that kinda operates like a point and click adventure itself. It has lots of different goodies and such to find, and I'm gonna give you a basic run through of it today. Now you can probably tell that this website dates pretty far back from the tiled background, but I have to say that I love this aesthetic. Remember the Space Jam website, anyone? Essentially what we have is a manor full of ghosts, and each room is its own page that holds various little things that our point and click fans such as myself might be interested in. From what I can gather, it was created by someone called Cindy Pondio, I think I pronounced that right, and it looks like she's made a couple of adventure games herself. Maybe I'll look at them someday, who knows?
But without further ado, let's begin.
The first location to experience is the grounds outside the manor. Here, we can see the manor in the distance, and there's a carriage with some dude and a woman in it. Although the horse looks kinda small. Not sure if that's perspective or that's just a tiny horse. But I wouldn't know because I'm no horse scientist. Now this page is basically a big walkthrough hub. I can imagine it being pretty useful actually. For example, let's take a look at the Broken Sword 2 walkthrough by Malcolm Schmidt. It includes little images, detailed descriptions of what you need to do, and even a section for Easter eggs. It's pretty neat. Not all of these links are in sight, so some of them have been lost to time. It's a shame, but it's inevitable. Anyway, let's move on to the gardens. Now this area actually includes sound. So we hear an eerie wind blowing as we look at the ghosts of children.
Did I ever mention that this site can be kinda creepy? Because it really is.
Unfortunately, this page is just a list of developers and publishers who make adventure games, so overall it's not very useful. There's just not a lot I can say here, some of them link to websites I suppose. So here's the Broderbund website for instance. Yeah, those are the guys that did Zoombinis back in the day, so there you go.
I suppose at the time of its creation it could have been pretty handy. I don't know.
The next room we'll be looking at is the wine cellar.
Always a favourite.
I must admit, even though the rendered images look very dated, there's a huge amount of charm to this early 3D stuff. But that might just be me because I find pretty much everything oddly charming, especially when it relates to adventure games. This room offers up screenshots. It's not a page that's very useful nowadays. I mean, instead of clicking on Phantasmagoria for screenshots of it, you can just Google it now, and I can get more images there and in a higher quality.
It's just another part of the site that's become obsolete through the passage of time, which isn't really a flaw per se.
So next up is the Billiards Room, which is rather noisy. I mean, these are some pretty rowdy ghosts. I didn't realise billiards could be so exciting. Fittingly, this room offers online flash games. Some of the links don't work anymore, but you can play a scary Garfield game, so it's all worth it really.
Well, I'm too scared to continue. Chill to the bone, as they say. Let's just continue.
So onwards to the library we go, and I really like the aesthetics of this specific page. The image is nice and the background is a rather pleasant dark red. This room offers interviews with adventure game developers, some of which are pretty interesting reads. They even have one with Jane Jensen, who created Gabriel Knight, which is one of my favourite game series ever. And I swear I'll get around to talking about them eventually. This room also provides some other links and some banner sharing, which really brings me back to that era. I love it. And now we enter the chapel to hear the sound of... This page is about adventure games with a religious theme, which might sound interesting, but it's just a list. So this page is a bit of a stretch, I think. The image is nice though. It also gives links to some Catholic and Christian games, including the cult classic Super 3D Noah's Ark. Wow, and it's on sale for $17.95. What a steal.
So apparently you need 640 kilobytes of RAM? Oof, I hope I have enough.
Unfortunately, there's no mention of the zoo race here because we all know how that's a modern classic.
Come on, Hannah, let's race. You and me, let's race. Let's have some fun.
And now we enter the study.
Sir, if you've got something to say, you can take it up with me and my friend here.
This page is very, pink, and it has an interactable door, which is pretty awesome if I'm being honest. Not many other parts of the site actually have anything like that. The design of this part of the site is nice, but it only offers a list of adventure games sorted by various themes like mystery and fantasy. Again, I could see this being useful in the past, but it's quite easy to just sort games by theme now. GOG can do it, Steam can do it, it's just a thing we can do.
You can't help but feel like a bit of a time traveller here. It's weird.
There's also some obnoxiously low quality ticking in here.
And now it's time to enter the nursery. And now it's time to leave the nursery.
Okay, but for real, this one gives a list of children's games. It's a pretty decent list, but one thing kinda confuses me. So, King's Quests 2, 4, 6 and 7 are listed here, but not 1, 3 and 5.
Don't worry guys, I get it. Cedric's just too scary for kids.
And the next room on the agenda is the conservatory. And you've gotta love a good conservatory. This one's no different. Very grassy, very ghosty. And this section gives us reviews and a link to the forums, and the forums are actually still active. People still post there apparently, although I don't want to butt in. It seems like a nice community. I don't want to cause any trouble. You shouldn't either, so we'll move on. Next up is the dining room, and this to me is one of the most interesting parts of the whole site, because here we have actual recipes based on adventure games. You've got recipes based on Grim Fandango, Gabriel Knight, and even Road to El Dorado, because I think that got an adventure game at one point. I tell you what though, if any of you guys want to try these recipes, be sure to tweet at me, because I want to see how well these work. I would do them myself, but you know, laziness.
So, get cracking I suppose, and channel your inner Ainsley Harriet. We all have one inside of us.
Yeah, boy.
Our next room is the attic, which has a dude fading in and out of reality in the mirror. I mean, hey, we've all been there. Also, this headless mannequin has a flower pattern bursting behind it, but at first glance, it looks like someone's head exploding. That's not just me, is it? Anyway, here we have some game saves that can be used, which is actually a pretty useful thing. Sometimes saves have a habit of getting lost or corrupting, or maybe a puzzle breaks and you can't advance forwards. These sorts of sites have you covered. They're pretty good in that regard. There's also apparently some memorabilia here, which seems to be a digital scrapbook of Phantasmagoria and Gabriel Knight, which is cool, I guess. It doesn't seem that different from the screenshots page, but you know.
And now we enter the sewing room, which offers
patches for games. Get it? Patches, because sewing. I mean, that's all I can really say here, except damn, that is one cool cat. I think there's a cat in nearly every room now that I think about it. I can dig it. So now we enter the carriage house, and
okay.
this probably would have traumatized me if I were a kid. Jeez, looks like the driver hung himself while these two were making out in the carriage.
Please, consider your driver. They have feelings too, you know.
Anyway, this place offers some utilities such as screenshot grabbers, which, again, are pretty useless nowadays. Still, a nice thought. Next up, we have the Ballroom, which offers some music and lyrics from adventure games and some music of its own, which gets very annoying, even if you do discount the stuttering of the music every now and then. Ugh. But yeah, this room is pretty straightforward. You know what you're getting here. And finally, we have the Easter egg room, which is very mysterious.
That's really mysterious.
I don't really know what's going on here, but this woman is very upset about dropping this photo. I mean, it's okay, the glass can be repaired, and there's no need to worry, the photo's fine. This room offers Easter eggs for various games, so let's have a little go, shall we? Ah yes, King's Quest 6, one of my favourite games. Now, one of these Easter eggs is making Alexander fall from the cliffs of logic 3 times while on the first screen. He gets a little bit upset.
Hey, quit making me fall.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Alex. It's for a video.
And that about wraps it up. That is the Mystery Manor adventure.
There's also something about keys, but I'm not exactly sure how those work, so I'm just gonna say that I'm done. There's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an oddity, but since when have I shied away from oddities? If you've got a little bit of time to waste, just give it a look. I think it's pretty cute. I haven't really seen too many other sites like this. The closest other one I can remember is the second Night of the Living update, which was an old Team Fortress 2 community event. It has a similar idea with rooms and such.
It's a strange niche that I want to see more of for some reason, which at this point might as well just be the motto for my channel.